Hey, welcome back to the channel, fans of smoky goodness. Today we're going to be doing that famous pulled pork, Boston butt. And I assure you it is a tasty treat. Please subscribe for me. I appreciate it. Alright, let's jump into the cook. Now as a binder, I use that yellow mustard to basically slather the entire pork butt with. And then after that, I'm covering this up with RecTeq's Loco Gringo. I think that's what it's called. Anyhow, Loco Gringo. It has a southwestern flair to it, which is pretty tasty and such. So anyhow, putting this up on the RecTeq Dual Fire, and on the indirect side, we're going to be running this on low mode overnight. So we're going low and slow all the way through the evening, and we'll check on where its temperature is in the morning and maybe bring it up a little bit more from there. So anyhow, putting the lid down on this baby and letting it go all night long. Oh, and yes, I did wake up a little bit early in the morning to check on things via the app, and sure enough, about 4 a.m. we were doing pretty good. So here we are later that morning, and we're cranking this thing up, and this is our first peek at it. And I gotta tell you, it was looking good. And put the probe in. Now, mind you, we were a little bit shy of where I wanted to be before wrapping this up in the foil and getting it ready for the braise, but had a few things we had to do that morning, so we went ahead and pre-wrapped a little bit early and got it going. But I was good with the color. I mean, everything there looked good, and in that regard, so went ahead and put that in my handy-dandy foil bucket there, if you will, and then prepared to get the wrap of that going on. Now, in preparation for the wrap, went ahead and threw down a stick of butter on top of this and gave it a little bit of an extra dusting with the Loco Gringo there to get that in place. But the other thing I did was I had some leftover barbecue sauce that I mixed up with some apple cider and another spare thing of barbecue sauce, and went ahead and added that as the liquid to kind of help with the braising part of this exercise. And I'm glad I did that, because that worked out actually pretty good. I don't think I could repeat that process, but it did add some flavor there to the mix that worked in our favor. So with that in mind, time to put the foil lid on top of this thing. Of course, after I did the dusting with my Loco Gringo from RecTeq. Again, a little extra flavor on top of that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but occasionally I just have a little bit of trouble getting the foil off of these things. But eventually I get there. The next part of this is getting good seal around the outside of this. And, sometimes this extra thick foil just makes it a little bit tricky. But, eventually, again, I get there. And it's just about getting that tight seal around the outside and then bringing that down and in. So, yeah, here we go. We got it. Now, the only thing I hate is accidentally not getting this seal just right, So, yeah, I had to take a little bit of time to pinch these corners in and make sure that was good and tight. So now back onto the grill, and we're going to continue the next part of this. And the only thing I can do now is mess up the poke and rip that. And yeah, I kind of did that. So foil number 2 coming on top to cover the little ripped area that I made happen. And then we'll reprobe it and get a little bit of better penetration in on this next time. Okay, so there we are. So after bumping up the temperature, we hit our temp, and we're now ready to pull this thing out and let it rest for a while. With respect to letting this rest, I went ahead and moved this over to the direct fire side for a bit. That said, I also moved it into the smoke box a little bit later because I had a few things going on. That day, went ahead and moved that around just a little bit, just to keep it in a restful state. Okay, now when I said I had a few things going on the side, one of the things I had going on the side was some cream cheese. This has become very addictive. I love that smoked cream cheese. Anyhow, smoke box is working out wonders for that. And again, we got that logo gringo on that, and that worked out really well. Okay, now we've rested. Time to pull that pork and get that thing ready. So here we are, popping the lid off of that. And again, I gotta tell you, it just came together really well. Pulled pork is really just a family favorite around here. Now what I do is I tend to drain off the liquid and then use that to kind of pour back in to get myself the right balance, if you will, of moisture in the pulled pork. So you're going to see us do a little bit of that action here. But yeah, that, and also I tend to pull off some of the heavier fatty pieces. We got some people in the family that aren't really particularly fans of the flavor in that regard. So those parts just had to come out that were a little bit tougher and whatnot. So anyhow, I'm getting rid of that bone, and everything just fell right off of that. You can see that there for yourself. So that was easy to do. Obviously this is still a little bit warm, even though I could shred this apart pretty easily with my hands. I went ahead and grabbed the little claws there and managed to make that work a little bit more in my favor. So we mix that up pretty good, and like I said, a little bit later, maybe not on camera, but I tend to add a little bit of that juice back in to get the right moisture into the mix that we like. And sometimes I'll save that juice just to add for crisping things up and so forth, especially when making carnitas or cooking that into any other recipe that we have going. So tinting this back up and getting ready to use it in some recipes. So first up, well, you gotta have some tacos, a little bit of carnita flair there. So one of the things I set up on that extra outlet on the Dual Fire is my induction stovetop there, and it works real well with my cast iron. So anyhow, put some of that pork right on top of that, a little bit of the au jus from it, which has some of that butter and some of the rendered fat, and just went ahead and heated that up and crisped that up. That worked out really well, and I gotta tell you, it smells great when you do that too. There's just something about getting that little crispiness on top of this that tends to make the dish for me, So I like to take a little bit of time to make sure I get that in place. And then again, if I need to add a little bit more moisture to it, I've got the the renderings that came off of that during the cook to make that work. Now our go-to for this is some of those street taco tortillas, the flour tortillas. A little bit of lime, a little bit of cilantro. Not everybody's a fan of onions on their things. I personally like it, but anyhow, that's just me. So we just plate that up and get that into maneuvering position, and then from there, oh yeah, gotta have the taste shot. So get a little bit of squeeze of lime on top of that, and we are good to go. And yeah, I had to sneak in a bite on this one too because it was just looking pretty tasty. So not only do we have a fan favorite here, I happen to enjoy this one as well. There we go. Gotta bite that. Now that said, I got a little crazy with mine. I ended up doing a burger here on the side, and figured, what the heck, let me try this as a burger topper on top of it, with a little bit of barbecue sauce in there. Doing the high protein thing, and trying to minimize my carbs, but I do have that one or two days of the week where I kind of miss on that. But anyhow, a little bit of that barbecue sauce that I had in the fridge, and actually I think it was the Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce. It was pretty good. So anyhow, mix that up and then put that on top of my burger. And I do tend to like to double cheese my burgers at times. It's just a bad habit, I know, but I have to do it. So anyhow, here we go. Whoa, wait, I gotta get the cheese on there first. So there's my cheese, that's my base. And so now we're just gonna pop that on top of there and go for that. Now I will warn you, when you do something like this, you gotta have a napkin in place, an extra set of napkins in place. So I had 3 of my selected size Bounty, squares ready to go for this one. Okay, now again, every now and then I cheat and I add another piece of cheese and then some chips on that. Okay, next we're doing some pizza with this, and again, pretty straightforward. Grill it up, get it a little bit crispy, add a little flavor on top of that. Put a little bit of that Chick-fil-A sauce in here too, just to make that work a little bit. And then moving from there, simply put that on as a topper. And then in this case, I'd put some more of that, barbecue sauce tied back and forth, and then back onto the RecTeq. A little over 500 degrees to make that out. And there you have it, a crowd pleaser. So this one here came out really nice. And I gotta tell you, everybody loves a good pizza. And this one here with the smoked pork barbecue flavored on it definitely did work. And then of course from there, hey, it's a pork butt week. So not only did we have pizza that everybody enjoyed, we went ahead and moved forward and said, okay, let's make that into a pasta. And in this case, I whipped up a creamy barbecue sauce-based pasta with some ricotta cheese and topped that in there too, and that worked. Oh wait, there goes that music. Okay, it's time for me to go. But before I sign out all the way, I just need to give you a moment of zen, because the burgers were done.